Alright, so in this video, we're going to be asking the toughest F-1 visa questions asked in this season. So a lot of people have been going ahead to the interviews right now, and what they've been saying is that the interviews have gotten way tougher than they used to. And at first I didn't believe it, but then I asked them the questions, what's really being asked right now, right? I want to know what's the exact questions that tell you that this interview was tough. And these are the 12 toughest questions essentially we got from that forum that we released. So we're going to be making it public here. Go ahead, prepare for these if you're taking your test, if you're going for the interview anytime soon. And let's get started, yeah?
Yeah, let's get started. So the first one we got was, give me your bank statements.
Oh, well, so, imagine, because a lot of times you go and you don't really carry your bank statement simply because maybe you're carrying a bank certificate, right? That, okay, this person has this amount of funds in the bank, or maybe let's say you're not sponsoring yourself, right? You're going all in on a loan, right? So sometimes it doesn't exactly make sense. It may startle you, I suppose, but it's not the toughest one, but it's still something that is, okay, sometimes it shocks you a little bit, I guess.
So key, come prepared, of course. Next one, it's a very classic one, but very important. Why are you going to this particular university? And don't give me a scripted answer.
Oh, if I heard that when I'm in front of the officer, I would be startled. I would be a bit shocked because, okay, why are you going to this university? That's a common question. And then they kind of shake the ground off, like just pull the ground off of your feet when they say, don't give me a scripted answer. Because
exactly, especially if you've already prepared your answer.
Yeah, exactly.
Then,
you have already prepared yourself, you know what to say. Now they're asking you to forget about it and then just start from scratch. So guys, remember, your answer should not be scripted in the sense when they mean that is that don't just say, I'm going to this university because this university is the number 1 ranked in this, or number 5 ranked in this. That you need to have a specific answer, and if you don't know how to answer it, go ahead to the YouTube page, take a look at this video. I've made the whole video dedicated to answering this question. It's an important question. Make sure that you check it out.
Then we got quite an unusual one, a difference between lists and tuples.
So I think we all know this, all the technical people from the field of computer science. If you're going for CS, you might have studied Python and some other languages as well, in which there are data structures, and this one is specific to, I believe, Python, where you have to answer the difference between lists and tuples. The key over here is that you may be an awesome Python programmer, but you may just not use, let's say, tuples, because not many people end up using tuples. You may know lists, but you may not know the differences, you may not know the subtleties, and to me, I would say this would be a bit of an unfair question if you're going to be basing whether this person should be going ahead to study computer science in the US on the basis of this, right? Because maybe this person never studied Python, or even if they did study Python and then they're asking it, maybe they don't know this part of Python. So to me, it's a bit of an unfair question, but as you can see, technical questions are being asked this year, so you should be prepared a little bit on that front as well.
Yeah, exactly. All right, another interesting question. How will you represent your country in the United States?
Now, this is a new one. We have not seen this before, right?
Yeah.
We do mock interviews and everything. There's some standard 15-20 questions that they usually ask, but this is new. This one is certainly not from the book. So, of course, when you hear this question, you should, of course, understand what kind of a mindset the officer has. What are they trying to say? That, exactly how are you going to be representing your country in the US? Well, you need to understand exactly what you bring to the US. That's what they're asking essentially. Why should you be in the US? How are you going to represent your country? And once you start thinking of it that way, I think you get closer and closer to the answer, depending on who you are, of course, which program you're going for. But yeah, it's more generic, I think, than anything else.
Yeah, exactly. So another important question, because a lot of you may already have quite some work experience. Why do you want to go after all these years? Very important one.
Yeah, and it's a tough one.
Yeah.
Because it kind of differs from person to person. It may be a very personal question to some people, right?
It's a very impersonal question, of course, because it depends on the case to cases. What have you done? What are your future, aspirations?
Yeah. So I think, again, this is one that you should prepare for if you're going with a gap, or the gap may be something like you're actually working, but still that's a gap between education. And you should know exactly why you have such a gap, and you should be ready to explain why this point in your life is the right point to take the next step and upgrade yourself towards the career and whichever field you want to move into essentially.
And most people would have a good answer to that, of course, because you're not going to study in the United States for no reason, right?
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
All right. Why do you want to go for a master's again? So in this case, it's going for a second master's is
double masters. Yeah, that kind of a question. It's important, and anyone who goes for a double masters, even in our mocks also, we always ask this because this is asked in most cases, and the reason behind the perspective in the mind of the officer is that if you already have a master's and you're going for a master's again, maybe it's in a slightly different field as well. Are you going there to just immigrate to the US, or do you really need this second master's, right? So you have to explain why you need it, really. What are your goals that are going to be fulfilled by taking on this degree, because you already have something very similar, and hence you should already know that.
Yeah. So another classic, why did you get your rejection previously? Very, very common one.
Yeah, and the funny thing about this is that when they give you a rejection, most students would have faced the 214B.
Yeah.
So the 214B is a standard rejection in which they would not tell you why you're rejected. They don't. If you ask them, they won't tell you. They'll say next. Go away, something like that.
But no explanation whatsoever.
No explanation. What it tells you is that a 214B is basically a rejection which basically generically says that you may be looking to settle in the US, and this is not an immigrant visa, this is a non-immigrant visa. So you should not be thinking of that. Yeah. Even though they may be very indirect, I don't know where they get it. Sometimes they get it from in between the lines, but this is their thought process, and just because of that you get a 214B. So you don't know why the officer exactly rejected you. You just know that okay, they thought you'll immigrate there, but then they ask you why did they reject you again. So this question is something that you're not exactly supposed to have an answer to, in my opinion. But for those of you who would like to understand how to tackle this, we've created this video where you can actually go ahead and check out how to actually tackle this question, because it's an unfair question, but if you are asked, you should know how to tackle it.
Then there's a very similar question. What has changed since your last refusal?
Oh, this is a good one, because the rule of the 214B is, and yes, sometimes exceptions exist, but the rule says there has to be a change in circumstances. Yeah. Only if there is a change in circumstances are you allowed to basically get the visa. Otherwise, if you go there without a change in circumstances, they have every authority to reject it again.
Yeah.
So the best change in circumstances, as you might know, is change the university altogether, right? So that's the best change. If you get to a better university, if you're going for something bad, badly ranked, you go to a better university, that's more or less it. But otherwise also you should still explain what sort of a change you've had in your profile. Otherwise maybe it was due to finances last time, whatever it was, you want to tackle that.
And also in terms of the university, you can also check on YMGrad.com to see whether your university is actually bad in ranking as well.
Yeah, and I think rankings do matter a lot.
Yeah, and even if the university may be great for a certain professor or because of a certain program, that doesn't mean the authorities think the same. They just think about the tie-ups and the quality of the university.
Yeah.
All right. Next one. What are the characteristics of a master's student? Very strange.
So I don't know how I'm gonna answer this, but I could say, okay, the characteristics are that this student already has some sort of expertise built up due to their bachelor's, and they want to augment that with a master's degree. They want to upskill their career, upgrade it. But how do you answer a question like this, right? So make sure you prepare for this as well. We don't know if this is going to repeat, but these kinds of questions are being asked right now, and this is a very generic question, right? Does it matter if I know these characteristics to get the visa? It's questionable at this point, but apparently it's being asked.
Yeah. Then we have another little bit of a classic. Why are you not pursuing your education in India?
Yeah, why the US, why not India, right? And this question comes up, and this is stemming from that fact that you mentioned that the ranking plays an important role. If you're going to a badly ranked university, the officer really thinks to themselves that this person is going there to immigrate. Because the only reason why someone would go into a badly ranked university is A, it's easy to get into, B, it's cheap. So that is why this person is going there. Go over there, study in this university, find a pathway to get into the land of opportunities essentially, and then do whatever, right? Don't come back. So that's what they think essentially, and that's why they ask this question. You should always be prepared for this one, especially if your university is not well ranked, of course.
Yeah, exactly. Next one, and this is a bit of a funny one. Why should we trust you?
Why should we? How do you answer that? Why should, I've seen in certain movies, when they ask, why should we? Can we trust you? Why should we trust you?
Yeah.
And the actor says, you can't.
But don't say that.
Don't say that. Don't say that you can't. But you're gonna have to find a better one. You should say that. Again, whatever I'm telling you, officer, whatever I've shown you in my file, I've been very honest with you, and I believe that should be the basis of your trust in me. Something like that. You can expand on it. But yeah, don't say that you can't trust me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last question, why the United States? So that one is quite similar actually compared to why not India?
Yeah, it's a bit similar, but at the same time it's different because they're comparing basically they're not wondering why you're not studying in India now. Now they're also wondering why you're not studying in the UK. Why not Canada? Why not Australia, right? So at this point, they're on a global scale and they're wondering whether it is the US that is pulling you towards this endeavor, or it is the university, right? You need to show them it's the university that you care about more than you care about the US, right? If this university was in Italy, hell, you would be going to Italy. That's what you want to convince them. If you're able to do it, you've won this question. You know the answer in that case, right? And I think I've created another one of these videos on this question as well. You can take a look at. But yeah, I believe these were all the toughest questions that we got. There were of course other ones which were very, very specific. Why you are going from this background to that background, things like that. We didn't add those in this video, but I hope that this video gives you a little bit more confidence and it prepares you for the kinds of questions that are being asked right now. The average length of interviews is shorter this year. It's getting tougher and tougher to get the visa, so it's so much more important to be prepared. And hence, if you're not prepared, if you need help, you need mock interviews, you can reach out on this WhatsApp number, or you can take a look at our mock interview service as well. We'll be happy to help you under both the mechanisms. And apart from that, make sure that you subscribe to the channel for more such content. Follow us on Instagram, there's a lot more over there. And I hope to see you in the next one. All the best for your interview.
All right, all the best.